I'm Sarah King, the Nature Recovery Manager at Herefordshire Wildlife Trust, and today we are filming at Bodenham Lake Nature Reserve, which is our largest lake nature reserve. One of the species that uses Bodenham Lake is the toad, and toads are one of a few amphibian species that are native to the UK. And our toads at Bodenham Lake are one of the biggest populations in Herefordshire, and so it's a very important site for them. You can identify toads compared to frogs because they have slightly olive skin and a slightly warty texture to that skin as well. And when you see them out and about, they'll be walking rather than hopping. So it's a really good identifying feature for them. Toads tend to breed in water, areas like ponds or lakes like we've got behind us where there are shallow edges. But during the winter they will find dark piles of logs to hide under, and they can travel up to 5 kilometres away from the place that they breed. So they have a really long migration route. And here at Bodenham they often head to the hills above us, which are full of woodland, for their winter habitat. So toad numbers are struggling, as are many of our amphibian species. And in Herefordshire we know we have a number of good populations, but those populations are struggling as well. And they're facing a number of challenges. Those include habitat loss, where ponds are being filled in so they don't have places to breed, but also where they're losing those dark piles of logs where we're clearing away all of the dead wood within our woodlands or within our gardens as well. One of the biggest challenges for toads is, as I said, they migrate up to 5 kilometres, and they'll often end up crossing busy roads, and those roads are a high risk for them for road accidents. So one of the things that we do to help protect our toads is have a toad patrol where we help them to cross one of the roads on their migration route. But where that doesn't exist, you can lose hundreds of toads each night to road accidents. And finally, with climate change happening, the timing for the toads when they leave their winter areas and come down to breed is becoming harder for them to predict. They normally wait until temperatures reach a certain level before they come down to breed, but with temperatures changing, later frosts, earlier warm periods, their migration routes are slightly out of sync. So it would be really great to identify where those populations exist around the county. We already know where some of them are, particularly where there are toad patrols happening. But if we had a clearer idea of the size of those populations, we could identify and focus our efforts on increasing the opportunities for breeding in those areas already having strong populations. We could look at how to protect those migration routes, so where there are busy roads, toads are having to cross, helping set up more toad patrols to get them across those routes, but also just encouraging people in their own homes to look at areas that they could put piles of dead wood or create what we call hibernacular, which is piles of kind of messy stuff that toads can spend their winters in. It's really important that we have the additional support to be able to carry out some of these actions to increase the toad populations and to continue to support them as the climate changes. Our Nature Recovery Fund is helping us to do work such as supporting our toad populations. By supporting the Nature Recovery Fund, you can help us look at those toad populations and where we can improve their numbers and increase their resilience where climate change is impacting their populations.